in the series of the Race of the Champions. And the grid down there, you can see in the bottom right corner in pole position, the world champion, Mario Andretti, in the Lotus 79. Not the Lotus 80, but more of that anon. Next to him, and for the first time on the grid in the new Brabham BT 48 1979 car, world champion Niki Lauda. Then the man who's done so well in Grand Prix this year, Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari. Nelson Piquet, Lauda's teammate. Jochen Mass in the Arrows. Elio De Angelis, the brilliant young Italian driver, in the shadow. And John Watson in the McLaren M28. Mario Andretti, world champion of 1978, but Andretti, you will notice, those of you who are enthusiasts and knowledgeable, is in the Lotus 79 and not in the new Lotus 78. Mario took this car, the Lotus 78, the new one, out in practice yesterday and today. And there is Mario Andretti going round in the beautiful new Lotus 80, but he's had small troubles, teething troubles in practice, some oil leaks, some trouble with the brakes, and Colin Chapman, very much the head man of Lotus, has decided that in the interest of having the best possible race and giving the enormous crowd here at Brands Hatch real value for money, he's going to put Mario Andretti into the Lotus 79, and that is exactly what he has done. And next to Mario Andretti on the front rank, double world champion Niki Lauda in the 1979 Brabham BT48 with the V12 Alpha engine. And this is the highest that one of these cars has been on the grid for a Formula One race this year. But this Race of Champions is in fact two races in one, because the 7 World Championship Formula One cars have behind them on the grid 11 Formula One cars that are competing in the Aurora series. And as you can see, in front of the rank is Keegan and Wilson, and out of the race is David Kennedy. But today is a commemorative occasion, and there on the right is Bernie Ecclestone, the head man of the Formula One Constructors Association, giving a cheque for £125,000 to David Mason, the chairman of the Gunnar Nilsson Cancer Fund. Gunnar Nilsson, the brilliant Swedish driver who drove for Lotus and died tragically at the beginning of this year, has started that fund, and now it is up to the £400,000 mark and will undoubtedly reach its target when the Donington event takes place later this year. And just as a matter of interest, Emilio Villota, the Spanish driver, is driving today in this race in the car that Nilsson rode. This is the warm-up lap, incidentally, and Emilio Villota is driving Gunnar Nilsson's car that won the Belgian Grand Prix 2 years ago. So, into Paddock Ben, the right-hander, this is the lap to warm up the tyres, make sure that everything has bedded down properly. And from Paddock, they go up Halewood Hill and into Druids Hill Bend, where sometimes, but very seldom, you get some demon overtaking. You can see the racing line there from the dark marks on the track where the rubber has been left. Then into the Cooper Straight. 18 cars in this event. The 7 in the front are the Formula One World Championship Grand Prix cars, and the ones that we're looking at just now are the 11 Aurora AFX Formula One Series cars, which is a special championship, mostly in Great Britain, but also some races on the continent. Has been dominated this year so far by the brilliant Irish driver David Kennedy, who has, to his great misfortune, had to withdraw just before this race began because of gearbox trouble. So there is Niki Lauda, there is Mario Andretti, followed by the brilliant Nelson Piquet, who is 4th fastest in practice, and Gilles Villeneuve, the man who won earlier on this year, who won in South Africa, and who has won the Long Beach Grand Prix as well. And there, bringing up the rear, Robin Smith, the Scottish driver in the Ensign Formula One car. This is the left-hander at Stirling's Bend, and this is the distinctive shot that you see as the drivers come down towards the end of the lap into clearways, the right hand, and you can just see where the Brands Hatch Indy short circuit joins the long circuit. There is Mario Andretti at the junction now, followed by Lauda and Piquet and Villeneuve and Jochen Mass and John Watson, who has actually got the new McLaren M28 going very much better here today than it has been in the World Championship events. Not well enough as far as Watson is concerned, but very much better nevertheless. 40 laps this race, over 2.6 miles, and that is 104.4 miles. And now they are watching ahead. The engine revs are rising. There is nearly 9,000 horsepower down on the grid there. And all looks well. The grid is completely cleared. The engine revs are rising all the time, and it's Lauda away to a superb start. Niki Lauda, double world champion, into Paddock Bend, a magnificent start, and they are all safely round Paddock Bend on the first crucial lap as I talk to you, and up Hillwood Hill into Druids. It's Niki Lauda leading, and Villeneuve, Gilles Villeneuve, the French-Canadian Ferrari star, in second position, chased by Mario Andretti, then Jochen Mass, then Nelson Piquet, then Elio De Angelis, and then John Watson. And it's worth recording at this early stage of the race that the World Championship cars are on better, faster tyres than the Aurora cars, and look at the lead that Niki Lauda, who is much happier about the Brabham than he has been, is pulling out over Villeneuve in the Ferrari and Mario Andretti, who is in third position as they go down Dingle Dell, up to Dingle Dell corner, lap one. Niki Lauda leads, Villeneuve is second, Andretti is third, Mass is fourth, Piquet is fifth, De Angelis is sixth, and John Watson in the McLaren is in seventh place. And the Aurora cars are holding on very well indeed. And the crowd is giving a tremendous round of applause to Niki Lauda as he crosses the line. And this is the first time one of the new BT48 Brabhams has led a Formula One race. Villeneuve, Andretti in third position, the world champion, up Hillwood Hill for the second time. It's then Mass, and Nelson Piquet is gaining on Jochen Mass, the German driver, in the arrows. Down the hill they come. Villeneuve, Andretti, that's Villeneuve in the Ferrari on the right. Niki Lauda there. Then you can see behind Mario Andretti, that's Jochen Mass and Nelson Piquet, number 6 on the left. Lauda. This is the fastest part of the course. 160 miles an hour. Piquet is taking Mass. And Nelson Piquet, the man who was the BP Formula 3 champion last year, 1978, is up to fourth position. Gordon Murray, the Brabham designer, and Bernie Ecclestone, the Brabham headman, who is also the headman of the Formula One Constructors Association, are so much happier about the Formula One Brabham BT48 here at Brands Hatch. Villeneuve, number 12, second, under the bridge. Mario Andretti, third. Right behind him, Nelson Piquet, number 6, fourth. Jochen Mass, fifth. De Angelis, sixth. And there is John Watson in seventh place. And the leader of the Aurora series at the moment looks like Tiffany Dell as he goes past in the brand new Chevron car. And up Hillwood Hill again. This is lap 3 out of 40. And Piquet is gaining on Mario Andretti. Nelson Piquet, the Brazilian, the young Brazilian driver, number 6, is gaining on the world champion. John Watson is the last of the Grand Prix drivers, and it is Rupert Keegan in the Arrows who is leading the Aurora championship race. That's Villeneuve in second place. Andretti third. In the Lotus 79, not the 80. And Piquet challenging. Piquet coming out of Mario Andretti's slipstream. But Mario Andretti moves across onto the apex of the corner, and Piquet has to drop back. But I think Piquet has got the measure of Mario Andretti and is going to take the World Championship in third place before very much longer. Coming up to the conclusion of lap 3, looking at the battle for second and third place, Villeneuve. Number 1, World Champion Andretti, third. And Nelson Piquet, who comes from Brasilia, This is his first season of Formula One racing. He crashed the car in the Argentine Grand Prix, and the lap times are 1 minute 20.25 seconds, and that is a speed of 117 miles an hour, and it's about 1.6 seconds slower than the lap record. But of course, the cars at the moment have still got full fuel tanks. They're heavier, they'll get lighter as the race goes on. And Mario Andretti still in third place. Nelson Piquet still in fourth place. In fifth place behind Nelson Piquet, it's the Austrian Jochen Mass in the Arrows, which is not being worked on in terms of development now because there's a new car on the way. But Villeneuve is not getting away from Andretti. Villeneuve not in the new T4 Ferrari, which won in South Africa, and then again at Long Beach, Villeneuve at the wheel. It's last year's T3 model against last year's Lotus 79 ahead of him with Mario Andretti. So, Lauda, number 5. Villeneuve in second place in the Ferrari. Andretti and Piquet. And the man of the race so far simply has to be Nelson Piquet, as over the line goes the leader. And Lauda is now leading by 2.55 seconds. From up the hill, in second place, Gilles Villeneuve, the French-Canadian, 27 years old, from Quebec, lives at Cannes at the moment. And Piquet, there is the second place man, and watch how smoothly Gilles Villeneuve drives. And have a close look at the sides of any of these cars. There is Niki Lauda, the Austrian, 30 years old, from Hope in Austria, who has driven Formula. There's Andretti. Now you see the gap. Second, third, fourth, and this is lap 5 out of 40. And have a close look at the sides of the cars when you get the opportunity. There you see, underneath the name on the side of Lauda's car, what are literally skirts. They are vertical sliding sections which rub along the ground. There they are, and those skirts keep the air underneath the car, prevent it from belling out to the sides, and create a literal downforce which drags the car down towards the track and puts extra loading on the tyres, increases the grip, and makes the cars much, much faster through the corners. And you will notice that Niki Lauda's car, the leading car, the Brabham BT48 with the Alfa Romeo engine, has no wings on the front of the nose. The nose is absolutely clean, there is no downforce needed there, and the times are coming down. 1 minute 19.8, and that is a speed of 117.9 miles an hour. Niki Lauda, the leader. And it's still Villeneuve in second place. Behind Villeneuve in third position, it's still Mario Andretti. Then Piquet, then Mass, then Watson. And leading the Aurora race at the moment, it is still Rupert Keegan, followed by Desiree Wilson, the lady driver in the Tyrrell, and in third place in the Aurora Series, Guy Edwards. Out of Sterling's, Lauda, Villeneuve, Andretti and Piquet. And between the first 4 cars, there is 1.49 seconds only at the end of the 6th lap. And the sun is coming out. The track is getting warmer, the tyres are good and hot. Mario Andretti, notwithstanding the fact that he is in last year's all-conquering car in which he won 6 Grand Prix, is not altogether happy. I talked to him last year and he said it's a comparatively slow car, but since last night they have put in a new engine, and Andretti knows this car perfectly, of course, the 39-year-old world champion from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Under the bridge, Lauda, Villeneuve, Andretti, and this is Villeneuve. Winner of the last Grand Prix at Long Beach, California. Winner of the previous Grand Prix in South Africa. Leading the World Championship. And that's Robin Smith, who is being lapped now. Robin Smith, number 63 in the Ensign, the Scottish driver. has been passed by the first three, is holding up temporarily, but not for long. Nelson Piquet, who is past him, and we look at Niki Lauda, the leader in the Brabham BT48 V12 Alfa Romeo. Over the line, Lauda, Villeneuve, Andretti and Piquet into the right-hander and paddock. Fourth gear, Halewood Hill, 140 miles an hour. Down to third, down to second, into Druids, 110 miles an hour, believe it or not. Accelerate up into third, down Graham Hill, 125 miles an hour. Round Graham Hill Bend. Back into second gear for Surtees, where they are now, 110 miles an hour. Now up through the gears, third, 125 miles an hour, down to Pilgrim's Drop. And look at the battle. It's Lauda, Villeneuve, Andretti. Now they're up into Hawthorn, fourth gear, 140 miles an hour. Down into Dingle Dell. Dingle Dell corner, third gear, 125 miles an hour. Up to Stirling's Bend, the left-hander, second and 110. Now up into fourth gear towards Clearways, 140 miles an hour, and it's that close. First, second, third, and just behind them, fourth, Nelson Piquet. There's Andretti in third place. Into the pits comes Niki Lauda, and Villeneuve leads. And a new race leader on lap 9, with Niki Lauda unhappy into the pits, and what a tragedy that is. Niki Lauda there in the pits as Villeneuve leads now. And are we going to see a third Formula One win in succession for the Ferrari team, as Niki Lauda is coming out of the pits, we think? Yes, out of the pits, and Villeneuve leads now. So it was only a very short stop for Niki Lauda. More of that soon, but look at the battle for the lead now. Number 12, 27-year-old Gilles Villeneuve, fifth in Brazil, first in South Africa, first in Long Beach, leads the World Championship, and from the world champion himself, Mario Andretti. Ferrari leads, Lotus second, and Brabham Alfa Romeo, Nelson Piquet, the young, very determined Brazilian, in third position. The gap between Villeneuve and Mario Andretti is half a second, with 10 lap, they're on lap 10 now, which is the quarter distance lap. Mario Andretti, of course, may just be playing a waiting game. He will know that Gilles Villeneuve, the French-Canadian, can see him in his mirrors. Now, last year, Villeneuve's first full season in Formula One, he just occasionally allowed himself to be rattled. John Watson has been into the pits with tyre trouble. John Watson in the McLaren M28. And yeah, sure enough, that's it, that's what I expected. Villeneuve has allowed himself to be rattled by Andretti. He went on the grass, and Mario has, with all his experience, seized his opportunity and passed. And so now the world champion is going to show, or is he, Gilles Villeneuve, the way to go. That was a masterly bit of tactical driving by Mario Andretti, who was just showing Gilles Villeneuve the nose of his Lotus 79 in the mirrors, big and bold all the time. And Gilles Villeneuve allowed himself to get rattled, overshot the corner, made a masterly recovery on slick tyres on the grass. And Niki Lauda's trouble is that his near side, his offside front tyre was blistering. And now Nelson Piquet is in the pits. Piquet in the pits with, I imagine, the same trouble that Mario Andretti had, and he's out of the pits. Yes, Piquet blasts out of the pits, having changed a front wheel and tyre. And now Mario Andretti, who rattled Gilles Villeneuve enough to make him go offline and off the course, in the lead. But hats off to the young French-Canadian for making a masterly recovery and not losing the car or hitting the Armco barrier on the left. But now, somewhat despairingly, I imagine, he sees Mario Andretti disappearing, because the gap between Andretti in the lead and Villeneuve in second place is about 1.5 seconds, and you can see how hard Gilles Villeneuve is driving on lap 11 out of 40. Villeneuve. Up into third place then has come Jochen Mass, the German driver in the Arrows, and that's the highest it has been in a Formula One race this season. Although Riccardo Patrese did extremely well in Grand Prix last year. In fourth position, it's still Nelson Piquet. Villeneuve, there's the leader. Behind Jochen Mass, Nelson Piquet. Behind Nelson Piquet, and in fifth position, Rupert Keegan leading the Aurora race. Behind Keegan is Niki Lauda, who of course has been in for a pit stop. Behind Niki Lauda is Desiree Wilson, who is in second place in the Aurora race, and behind her is Bernard de Drieve driver, the Belgian, in the second of the two Fittipaldi Aurora cars. But there is the second place man in the Grand Prix section of the race, the Grand Prix drivers race. Villeneuve, and Villeneuve is starting to challenge. He's trying to close up on Mario Andretti, but he's going to have his work cut out, because over the line now at the end of 12 laps, the leader Andretti, followed in second place and dropping back by Gilles Villeneuve, and then there is the whole length of the straights before Jochen Mass goes through in third position. At the beginning of lap 25, then, Mario Andretti in the Lotus 79 leads Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari, last year's Ferrari, by all of one car's length. Villeneuve has fought back brilliantly, and there are Andretti and Villeneuve going down Graham Hill, and Villeneuve has gained some 3 seconds on Mario Andretti. Niki Lauda in the Brabham, who at one time led the race, has been in and out and in and out of the pits for tyres. So has his teammate Nelson Piquet. John Watson in the McLaren M28 is out of the race and leading the Aurora section of this race, and in fifth position, and he was ahead of Niki Lauda, sixth position now, is Rupert Keegan in the Arrows, and in second place in the Aurora part of the race, Guy Edwards in the Fittipaldi car. Lap 25 out of 40 then, a terrific pace at the 13th race of the champions. Mario Andretti, number one, Lotus 79. Under the bridge and into clearways again. And there is Villeneuve, number 12, the young French-Canadian, behind him in second position, into paddock. And if Andretti can just keep going like this, he can still win, because although Villeneuve has reduced that lead of 4 seconds that Mario Andretti had to the two or three cars lengths that you can see now, in motor racing, it is a case of catching up being one thing, getting past being quite another. And Mario Andretti's car is clearly just as fast as Villeneuve's Ferrari on this Brands Hatch 2.6 mile circuit. And it looks to me as though it's Guy Edwards that they are coming up to now. And Guy Edwards is now in second place in the Aurora part of the race. And it is, and he waves them both through politely. And Villeneuve has got his front aerofoil tucked right under the gearbox of Mario Andretti's car, and there will be terrific turbulence and there will be hot air beating in the face of Villeneuve from the twin exhausts of the V8 Ford Cosworth engine of Mario Andretti's Lotus 79 as they come up to complete lap 26. Terrific pace, but still the lap record has not been broken. 1 minute 18.6 for Niki Lauda. And the time for that lap by Mario Andretti was 1 minute 20.41. So they are not far off, 2 full seconds off the lap record pace in this race, set by Niki Lauda in the Brabham BT46 last year. out of Druids. Down Graham Hill bend. Cooper Straight. Surtees. Up the crest, third gear, 125 miles an hour. Under the bridge, Pilgrim's Drop, fourth gear, 140 miles an hour. Up to Hawthorn's Bend, fourth gear, 140 miles an hour. Into the Derek Minter Straight. Westfield, Andretti leads, Villeneuve second. And they're lapping Robin Smith as they go into Dingledell Corner and out of it, into Stirling's Bend. And in the pits, of course, everything is fraught. Everybody is on tiptoe, literally, metaphorically, and there is Colin Chapman, the team leader, the owner of Lotus, and in the background, in the glasses, Nigel Bennett, the team manager. And Villeneuve challenges going into paddock, and he's going to take Andretti, is he? Yeah, but Andretti has to give way, and that was an incredible piece of motor racing. Gilles Villeneuve just picked his moment. Eased his front wheels in between the front and rear wheels of Mario Andretti, who had to give way fractionally to the left, and Mario does not do that lightly. Villeneuve kept his foot hard down, had got the line on paddock, and is now once again in the lead, as he was on laps 8 and 9, and he has only led on 2 laps so far. But don't forget that Villeneuve, proving me wrong, because I said it was going to be very difficult to get past Mario Andretti, was at one point a full 4 seconds behind the world champion, has gained that 4 seconds, has got past Andretti, and his Ferrari is famous above all things for reliability. It is very, very seldom that anything goes wrong with a Ferrari. And Gilles Villeneuve, in only his second full season of Formula One racing, is proving to have one of the coolest heads on his shoulders in the whole of Formula One. And he crosses the line now, and the lead is 1 minute to 1.8 seconds. And I suspect that Mario Andretti's tyres are now definitely going off, which in racing parlance means that he's having to slow down because his tyres are just not giving him the grip, because tyre compounding is a very critical art, and if you haven't got exactly the right compound, Andretti is on Goodyear tyres and Villeneuve is on French Michelin tyres, and sometimes you can get the compounding right for one make and not for the other, and it is almost literally a game of chance as to which you get. They are, of course, contracted to use whichever tyre they are on, and it just could be that Andretti's tyres are going off, and he's having to feather the accelerator a little, easing things back, and it's not inconceivable that Mario Andretti will be coming in for tyres. As I look down towards the Lotus pit, I can see that they are all ready to make a tyre change, as a matter of course, but desperately hoping they will not have to. They are on lap 29 out of 40 now. And Andretti does not go into the pits on this lap anyway. And the pace is speeding up because Villeneuve has just gone round in 1 minute 20.4, 117.03 miles an hour, as up Hailwood Hill into Druids he goes, out of Druids, down Graham Hill, into Graham Hill Bend. There is Mario Andretti now in second place and looking as though he is going to have to give best to Villeneuve. In third place behind Mario Andretti, it's Nelson Piquet, the Brazilian in the Brabham. In fourth place, it is Jochen Mass in the Arrows. In fifth place, having made 2 tyre changes, Niki Lauda. In sixth place and leading the Aurora race, Rupert Keegan. In seventh place and second in the Aurora race, Guy Edwards. And in eighth position, Elio De Angelis, the Formula One Grand Prix driver. Villeneuve, the leader. And just for good measure, in ninth position overall, third in the Aurora series, the lady driver Desiree Wilson, who crashed in the Sports 2000 practice this morning but is perfectly all right. That is the leader, Gilles Villeneuve. Villeneuve, of course, is theoretically, as he comes up to Tiff Needell in the Chevron car, and he's about to lap him. Needell, who is driving the Chevron in his third race, is not at all happy. He had fuel pump trouble in practice, but has got the car going, having driven brilliantly at Zolder at the beginning of this year. 1 minute 20.12 for Gilles Villeneuve, and that's a speed of 117.5 miles an hour. Villeneuve has settled down now and is pulling away noticeably from the second place man Mario Andretti, still with Nelson Piquet, and Villeneuve taking it very wide indeed as he came out of Westfield and into Dingledell. And it was when he came out of Westfield, of course, that he lost the lead to Mario Andretti, but he needs not bother very much now, because you can see that Mario Andretti is not in sight, as out of Stirling's on lap 31 in this 40-lap race comes Gilles Villeneuve, and he must have some 4 seconds lead now, I would estimate, over Mario Andretti. And Andretti once again does not go into the pits, and the gap between Villeneuve and Andretti is 5.8 seconds. Into paddock. Andretti closing up on Tiff Needell in the Chevron, the only one of its kind that's ever been built, to lap Tiff Needell, still holding his second place. Villeneuve rounds the left-hander at Surtees. Third place still Nelson Piquet, and if Piquet finishes in that position, it will be superb confirmation for those who said this man is good enough really to make it in Formula One racing, including no less a judge than Herbie Blash, who is the Brabham team manager, and who said quite confidently, there's Villeneuve, the leader, number 12. You can now look at that, a completely clear track in front of him and behind him. And that is Niki Lauda, who is in 5th position. There's Niki Lauda in the Brabham BT48. You have seen Villeneuve well on his way, and he is on his 32nd lap as Niki Lauda starts his 32nd lap. Lauda, the double world champion, who was world champion in 1975 for Ferrari, world champion in 1977 for Ferrari. And that is Nelson Piquet in 3rd position. So Brabhams are in 3rd and 5th position. Villeneuve is speeding up, 1 minute 19.9, and that is a speed of 117.7 miles an hour. And now you see Guy Edwards, De Angelis, Jochen Mass and Val Musetti. And the third of these 3 cars is Jochen Mass, who is in 4th position. The German, number 30, in the Arrows car, the third of these 3 cars. There's De Angelis, and there is Jochen Mass, ex-Merchant Navy seaman, Porsche sports car ace driver, the man who won the Spanish Grand Prix in 1975. And the leader is still, of course, Gilles Villeneuve on lap 33 into Stirling's Bend. And it would seem quite clear that Villeneuve, as he was in South Africa, as he was at Long Beach, as he was at Canada last year, where he won all those 3 Grand Prix, is in a class of his own. Yesterday in practice, this man, number 12, Gilles Villeneuve, spent lap after lap after lap methodically coming into the pits, changing tyres, having the suspension adjusted, having the roll bars adjusted, having every little detail of the Ferrari put right. And between Villeneuve and Mario Andretti, there are now 8.35 seconds. Villeneuve, number 12, driving last year's T3 Ferrari, and Mario Andretti in 2nd place, driving last year's Lotus 79, the 1979 car, which won for Mario Andretti the Drivers' World Championship. And it could well be that you are looking now at the 1979 World Champion, Gilles Villeneuve. He won the Canadian Grand Prix last year, the South African Grand Prix this year, the Long Beach, California Grand Prix this year. and has beaten his brilliant teammate Jody Scheckter in those last 2 Grand Prix and leads the World Championship with 20 points. Mario Andretti there in the background is only in 6th position in the World Championship, 2nd position in this race, about to finish lap 34 as Villeneuve has done already. 6 laps. Lap 34 completed on lap 35, and it is a 40-lap race, and Villeneuve is settling his race pace at about 1 minute 20 seconds, 117.6 miles an hour, exactly 2 miles an hour slower than the lap record. And look at the enormous crowd at Brands. Cars parked all over South Bank. The spectators are solid in the grandstands, and all the way from paddock right back to clearways, a gigantic crowd. Villeneuve, the leader, under the bridge into Pilgrim's Drop, 160 miles an hour, sprints uphill to Hawthorns, out of Hawthorns, into the Derek Mentor Straight and down to Westfield on the 35th lap. Ferrari reliability showing again. And he's coming up now to Agostini to lap the Italian for the 2nd time. And Giacomo Agostini, who was so brilliant and so virtually unbeatable in motorcycle racing, has not been anything like as successful in car racing. Indeed, he has regrettably been singularly unsuccessful so far. And in front of Villeneuve now is Gordon Smiley in the yellow helmet. That's the 2nd of the 2 Melchester Tyrrell cars, which won last year's Aurora Championship with Tony Trimmer at the wheel. And Villeneuve goes through on the inside to take the Formula One novice, Gordon Smiley, although the very personable American has got a great deal of motor racing experience in other formulae. And still, Villeneuve is going round astonishingly regularly. 1 minute 19.3, 1 minute 19.5, and so on. He's just reeling off the laps now, completely relaxed, knowing from his pit signals how much of a gap there is between him and Andretti, who is in 2nd place. Villeneuve has lapped everybody up to the 5th place man, who is Niki Lauda. 4th is Jochen Mass. 3rd is Nelson Piquet. 2nd, Mario Andretti. 6th, lapped but leading the Aurora Formula One race, Rupert Keegan. 7th is Elio De Angelis. And in 8th position and 2nd in the Aurora race, Guy Edwards, followed by Bernard de Driver, his teammate, and in 4th place in the Aurora race, 10th place overall, Desiree Wilson, as Villeneuve completes lap 36. He has laps 37, 38, 39 and 40 to go. Less than 12 miles, and that's Niki Lauda ahead of Gilles Villeneuve. There's Lauda, and it could well be that he's going to be lapped by Villeneuve, and that will be bitter gall for the double world champion. There's Villeneuve, approaching Pilgrim's Drop on lap 37. Nelson Piquet is up into 2nd place. He has displaced Mario Andretti. There is the leader, Gilles Villeneuve. And it's number 6 in the Brabham BT48, the brilliant Nelson Piquet, who is in 2nd place. There is the leader, Villeneuve. And he is taking Robin Smith and closing up. He's lapping Robin Smith there in the Ensign, the Scottish driver, closing up on Niki Lauda to lap the Brabham BT48 that is in 5th position. So Villeneuve is shortly going to have lapped everybody up to 4th place. And Nelson Piquet there is in 6th position ahead of Mario Andretti. So Mario Andretti must be in real trouble with his tyres. Mario Andretti going into paddock bend now and coming up Hawthorn Hill behind Nelson Piquet. Piquet goes into the right-hander at Druids, and then coming out of it, it will be Mario Andretti. There is Andretti, who has gone from 1st to 2nd, from 2nd to 3rd, with what must be, I am sure, tyres going off. And the gap between the first place man Gilles Villeneuve and the second place man Nelson Piquet is 11.3 seconds. Villeneuve, Italian Ferrari. Second place, Brazilian Nelson Piquet in the British-Italian Brabham. And he has lapped, Gilles Villeneuve has lapped Niki Lauda, who is in 5th position. Coming up to Val Musetti, there's Lauda behind Villeneuve, lap 38 out of 40 into clearways. Villeneuve about to start the last lap but one. Villeneuve then into lap 39 out of 40, the race leader has lapped everybody up to Jochen Mass, who is 4th. In 3rd position, Mario Andretti, who has just been displaced by the brilliant ex-Formula 3 VP champion Nelson Piquet, last year's Formula 3 champion. This is his first year of Formula 1 and he is brilliantly successful. Villeneuve goes past Desiree Wilson, and the gap now between Villeneuve and Piquet in 2nd place is 12.6 seconds. And Niki Lauda in the background. Well, another copybook race for Gilles Villeneuve. And Keegan is out of the race. Rupert Keegan has disappeared off our lap charts, and that's cruel luck for the man who raced the Surtees TS20 in the Grand Prix races last year and was taking part in his first Aurora race this year, and he is now out of it, and Guy Edwards is leading the Aurora series part of this race. Guy Edwards in the Fittipaldi car. And this is Gilles Villeneuve starting lap 40, his last lap of the Race of the Champions of Brands Hatch in 1979. Villeneuve some 9 seconds now ahead of Nelson Piquet and has slowed down to 1 minute 22 seconds. Villeneuve passes Val Musetti into Surtees, the left-hander, 110 miles an hour. He's on his last lap and he will know it. I've seen the pit signal go out from the Ferrari team manager, which indicates that he's on his last lap. And the imperturbable Gilles Villeneuve from Quebec, and though he lives in Nice in Europe, knows that he's on his last lap, drifts it out very wide at Westfield, completely relaxed, working away in the cockpit, very hot no doubt, in front of that flat 12, incredibly reliable Ferrari engine. And Ferrari have really come back this year. They started the season level pegging with Lotus as far as Grand Prix victories are concerned, and they are now 4 ahead. They were 1 ahead at the end of last season. And into the closing stages, he could kick out the clutch now and still win, and Villeneuve takes the checkered flag to win the 1979 Race of the Champions with the 2nd place man Nelson Piquet in the Brabham Alfa Romeo into the top straight and across the line as I speak to you now to finish higher than he has ever finished in a Formula 1 race, and the world champion Mario Andretti in the Lotus 79 comes home in 3rd position. Villeneuve, hand out of the cockpit, doing his victory lap now, as in 4th position, over the line, number 30, Jochen Mass, the German, in the Arrows car, and that's the highest that Jochen Mass has ever finished in a Formula 1 race since he joined Arrows, although he's the only driver to have finished in all 4 1979 Grand Prix. Gilles Villeneuve from Quebec, the brilliant French-Canadian who won the South African Grand Prix and the Long Beach, California Grand Prix and is leading the World Championship, has won the 1979 Race of the Champions and lapped ex-world champion Niki Lauda in the process. In 2nd position, Nelson Piquet, the Brazilian. In 3rd position is Mario Andretti, and in 4th place, the only man to be other man to be unlapped, Jochen Mass. In 5th position, Niki Lauda. In 6th position, Elio De Angelis. And the winner of the Aurora series, Guy Edwards, finished in 7th place. But another great win for Gilles Villeneuve.